You have to cope because you die with guilt. You just die with guilt. My observation, David, is that the biological clock and the career clock are in total conflict with each other. Total, complete conflict. When you have to have kids, you have to build your career. Just as you're rising to middle management, your kids need you because they're teenagers, they need you for the teenage years.
October is a mental health awareness month, and I feel it shouldn't be done on October only. This should be a conversation that we always have. So if you're struggling with any type of mental health illness, or even if you're not struggling with mental health, I think this video is for you because you do have someone in your family or a friend who's struggling with mental health. Hello, welcome to my world where I tell my truth. In today's video, I'm going to talk about guilt. Yes, guys, guilt. There's a lot of people who are walking around with guilt feelings, and those feelings, they actually contribute to depression. They actually contribute to someone being stuck and not being able to move on and live their life. So I'll be sharing some of the information that I've learned at Vista, and lucky enough, while I was there, I recorded the videos so that the information is still fresh and I can share with you guys. And please do note that the clips are not so clear. I didn't have my ring light there. So you just need to take the information, learn, and go share it with people. So in this video, I'll be showing you how to let go of these feelings. Some people, they actually get admitted because they feel guilty of something. So let's just go to the clip so that you can learn what I've learned in Vista regarding these guilt feelings. Hello, welcome. My name is Lindy, and this is still day 2. I'm going for evening. I just had my supper now, and I'm just going to talk about what I've learned today. So today I've attended a class called Guilt. So it's funny how all of us all over the world, people around us, we all go through these guilt feelings. So for example, if we were to go just in a school, there's a principal, there's teachers, there's students. Students are guilty of something that they did, and teachers are guilty of something that they did. The parents are guilty for maybe not caring for their kids, thinking they're not caring for their kids, and they're giving the responsibility to the teachers. So I've learned a lot about that, and I'm just gonna give you a highlight of what I've learned. So first of all, let's just explain what is guilt. So it is a psychological feeling that happens when a person doesn't live up according to the standard. So the standard can be religion, culturally, law, so, and also some of these standards is standards that we set. So say for example, you grew up knowing that you want to be a certain person, and then maybe you're now 30 and you're not that person, and you're not maybe achieving your goals, you're still stuck. So such guilt can happen, especially if you think maybe by now you should have maybe bought your first apartment, or maybe you're sponging your parents, you're thinking you're sponging your parents, and you can be guilty of that as well. So these are the feelings that we tell ourselves, but then they are not really true. And if we don't deal with those feelings, it can be a problem in our lives. So every single person has some guilt feeling that they are keeping in their hearts, and that can cause harm in your mental health. So say for example, for people who usually get depressed, we usually take this guilt to another level. So for example, maybe something might happen and then you feel guilty. Something at work might happen and then you feel guilty about it the whole day, and then you start thinking about it, you start probably dreaming about it, and then the following day you're still thinking about that same thing. So those are the feelings that we need to deal with. Or maybe you are a parent and your child go to school, or maybe like crash, and then they fall from a swing, and then you start thinking, if I was at home taking care of my child, this wouldn't be happening. So just think about it. That's irrational thinking, because obviously you cannot control what will happen to your child. Or for example, I recently watched this YouTube video where people share their stories of what happened in their life, something that they went through, and this lady was sharing something about her child drowning, and something like this, it's easy to hold on to that guilt and not move on because of that. So there are 4 types of guilt. The first one is illness-induced guilt. So that one is the type of guilt where you just maybe a person who gets depressed or bipolar or any type of mental health, and because of something that happened, even if it's true or not true, you tend to dwell on that all the time. You think about it. When you see that person, you think about it. So something like that can be cured by questioning those things that are happening, and as well as taking medication. Inappropriate guilt is one where it's just irrational thoughts. I mean, you cannot control what will happen in future. You cannot do anything about it, and you cannot control what happened in the past. If something happened, you don't have any control. So a good example is that one where you take your child to school and then something happened and then you feel you should have done something about it. And then there's also change-induced guilt. So change-induced guilt is that guilt where you want to impress someone. Say you are a person who's working and then you usually get to work around 9 and yet you're expected to be there at 8. And you don't get to work because maybe you were partying or something, and then that's change-induced guilt, and you need to do something about it, because obviously if you start losing your job because you're always getting at work late and because of partying, and the reason you can't put standard and boundaries is because you're scared you won't have friends anymore. You're scared to tell your friends, "But guys, I cannot go partying during the week." So that's the one which is change-induced. So you need to really approach and set boundaries with your friends, set boundaries with whoever that you need to set boundaries. And then appropriate guilt as well is the one where something like a traffic cop stopping you, and because you exceeded the speed limit, and obviously that is set. It must be, all of us, we need to follow that law, and if we drive fast, obviously a traffic cop will stop us and then we will have to pay the fine or even get arrested. So that's something, that a standard that was set, and we didn't stick to that standard. So these are the guilts that we need to deal with. Some of these guilts is because of irrational decisions. So just question whatever you think, especially in culture. I mean, something like you cannot marry someone who's young, or maybe your child, if your child is gay or something, all these cultural guilt that we have. So go question those guilt, and then even law, even standard and policies at work that are set for us to follow. Question those policies, and obviously sometimes you cannot do anything about it, but you do sign a contract to say you will follow those policies at work. So just think about it, how you're going to deal with that. But then let's not stay with guilt. We all make mistakes, we're all human, and no one, I mean absolutely no one, is without a sin. So we all are sinners and we will make mistakes. Just make sure that you talk about it and then you let it move on. Don't let that voice keep telling you, no, you didn't uphold to the standard. As a person who's been in corporate for the longest time, I think over 15 years now, it is so easy for me to have these guilt feelings because I feel like I'm spending more time at work, and my kids, I don't spend much time. So we hardly, you spend time in traffic, you spend time there, and even when you are there, you're expected to perform even better than men, because we have to prove ourselves as women. And don't forget the maternity leave that we take, and then when you come back, you feel like you just need to start all over again to prove yourself. So it is so easy for us to get these guilt feelings when you come back home and your husband is giving you that look that you don't cook for me anymore. And it is so easy as well to feel guilty that you are not really spending time with your kids. By the time you come back home, you are so tired. You try and listen, you try and do the homework, but then you're not actually giving yourself because there isn't enough time. I like what Andrea, the ex-Pepsico CEO, who's a woman, she said, as women, we cannot have it all. And it is pointless for us to be guilty for wanting to have a career and also balancing our life. So you just need to learn how to balance all of this.
I don't think women can have it all. I just don't think so. We pretend we have it all. We pretend we can have it all. My husband and I married for 34 years, and we have 2 daughters. And every day you have to make a decision on whether you are going to be a wife or a mother. In fact, many times during the day, you have to make those decisions. And you have to co-opt a lot of people to help you. We co-opted our families to help us. We plan our lives meticulously so we can be decent parents. You have to cope because you die with guilt. You just die with guilt. My observation, David, is that the biological clock and the career clock are in total conflict with each other. Total, complete conflict. When you have to have kids, you have to build your career. Just as you're rising to middle management, your kids need you because they're teenagers, they need you for the teenage years. And that's the time your husband becomes a teenager too. So he needs you. Sorry. They need you too. So what do? And as you grow even more, your parents need you because they're aging. So we're screwed. I mean, we cannot have it all. Stay-at-home mothering was a full-time job. Being a CEO of a company is 3 full-time jobs rolled into one. How can you do justice to all? You can't.
So as a person as well, a woman who's trying to conceive, trying to be pregnant, and you've been trying for so many years and you can't conceive, it is so easy for you as well to feel guilty. I mean, the in-laws are expecting this son or daughter and then you can't give them that and you are not in control of that. So let's just fight the irrational belief and the irrational thoughts that are going on in our minds, making us believe that we are incapable or we're not women enough because we don't have kids. I've had a case, so many cases on YouTube where women are saying their kids drown and they are not able to move on because you feel like I should have taken my kids or my baby to swimming lessons when they were born. But thinking about it, when I was living in Tembisa, we didn't have any swimming pool. So any child would just go anywhere in some dam and it is so easy for that child to drown. So those guilty feelings, there's nothing you can do. It happened. You just need to learn and move on. Forgive yourself for that. We are not in control. Anything can happen to my kids. Anything can happen in between home and school. Only God can see everything. So as a student, you studying, you feel like you're in university, you're trying so hard to cope and adjust in university and you're not passing and you feel like you're wasting your parents' money. This video is for you because you just have to give your best. So do not feel guilty. Or maybe you committed a crime and you went to jail, you come back, you're still feeling guilty for whatever you did while you were here. So God says, I forgive you. If you have paid the price for whatever crime you committed, it's time to move on. It's time to move on. Let go of the past. Thank you so much. I hope you've learned something and I hope you will let go of these guilt feelings. They're not contributing anything in your life. It's like drinking poison and hoping that something will be fixed, and it won't be fixed. We have to forgive ourselves. We are humans, we'll make mistakes, we all sin, so you have to forgive yourself. Thank you so much for watching and don't forget to subscribe and share this video. It might help someone. Thank you.